In 1966, the United States fights through the 11th year of its official involvement in the Vietnam War. The U.S. is also conducting covert raids in neighboring Laos, which is where U.S. Navy pilot Dieter Dengler and 6 other men cling to life in one of Laos's most notorious POW camps.
POW camps were hellish and inhumane, employing all manner of torture. Malnutrition, solitary confinement, beatings, you name it.
This combination of sadistic guards and a treacherous jungle landscape makes camps like Ban Hue Het the end of the line for many captured soldiers.
American POWs Dieter Dengler, Brain Martin, and Eugene De Bruin are captives in this Laotian prison camp, along with 1 Chinese and 3 Thai prisoners.
Dengler notices that almost every night, U.S. C-130 aircraft fly directly over the camp on their supply runs. Since the camp is dark at night, there's no chance the planes would spot it. But if they create a signal fire, it might alert the plane, securing their rescue. To do that, Dengler's plan calls for taking over the camp. First, all the prisoners will need to get out of their restraints, then sneak out of the huts and past the fence. Second, they'll have to steal weapons from the guard huts. Third, they'll split up and round up the guards. It's a crazy plan, and one that requires every prisoner to play their part. The men start by observing everything going on in the camp for weeks.
One of the patterns that they detected was every time the guards come down for dinner, about 4 p.m., they would leave their weapons in their huts. And so the guards were essentially unarmed throughout this period.
It's a window of only 2.5 minutes, but Dengler thinks it's enough time. First, they need to come up with a way to get out of their restraints during the guards' mealtime.
Back in those days, toothpaste tubes were made out of metal, and so they were able to melt down this toothpaste tube and make a key.
By pouring the molten metal into an improvised mold in the dirt, they're able to fashion a makeshift key they can use to spring the handcuff locks and get free. Another necessary piece of the puzzle is a way out of the hut and stockade. They figure out a rather unique way of creating a secret hole in the back of the hut. They loosen a support beam from the rear wall by saving their urine and pouring it over the base of the beam. The acidity wears away the crude glue that keeps the pole in place. This allows them to remove several floorboards, creating a secret way out of the hut. Then, behind the hut, they dig a hole under the stockade fence, hiding the hole with leaves and bamboo. With everything in place, it's almost time to go. On June 29th, he makes the call. Go. Martin and De Bruin agree, so Dengler slips out of the hut.
The original part of the plan started out well. They're able to get out, they're able to get to munitions. As they suspected, the guards had left their rifles leaning against the doorway.
Dengler arms himself with an M1 carbine and gives 2 rifles to the Thai prisoners. As they head towards the front, Dengler slowly circles back around the fence.
As Dengler approaches the kitchen hut, he sees a problem.
The Thai prisoners are gone. No one is collapsing from the front of the compound. The guards spot the approaching American. Unexpectedly, one of them is still armed. He opens fire. Dengler has no choice but to return fire. He shoots, hitting the guard in the chest. One of the guards flees into the jungle. Another charges with a machete. Dieter continues to shoot as all hell breaks loose. When the smoke clears, all the guards are dead, except one who escaped. The plan has failed. It's time for Plan B, fleeing the camp. But there's a problem. The Chinese prisoner named YC has become violently ill. He's in no condition to move, much less flee into the jungle.
This Chinese prisoner, if he's left in camp, he'll simply be executed. And nobody can really bring themselves to say that YC could come with them until Eugene de Bruin says, no, I'm not going with the Americans, I'm going to stay with YC.
So rather than go with Dengler, he elects to help YC escape the camp where they'll hide on a nearby ridge and hope for help to come.
With enemy reinforcements on the way, there's no time for Dengler and Martin to delay.
Dieter and Duane shake hands and say goodbye for the last time to YC and de Bruin, both of whom are never seen again.
Dengler and Martin have no other choice. It's out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Dengler, Duane set off into the jungle with a vague idea of making it possibly to Thailand.
The men trudge along for several days. At points, they're so weak they resort to crawling just to keep moving forward. Though both men are toiling, Martin is failing fast. Dengler is forced to carry him for long stretches.
Duane was very weak, very malnutritioned, really couldn't help find food or water, and that was something that Dieter did for him. The bond was just really hard to describe for those of us that have not been in that type of situation.
As they exit the thick jungle, they run into trouble.
They stumble upon a man with a machete. Both Dengler and Martin know that they can't outrun this villager. They decide to show that they are no threat, so they both fall onto their knees and put their hands up to demonstrate that they are no threat.
The villager doesn't care. Americans are not welcome. He charges the two men. As the villager raises the machete above his head, Dengler closes his eyes, and the machete comes down. But not to Dengler. In one swing, he chops Martin's head clean off. Dengler flees for his life.
Dengler runs off into the jungle quickly, and he's not gone into the jungle for very long. Then he sees a number of villagers spreading out, trying to surround him.
Now, Dengler finds the strength to ignore his suffering and in the memories of his friend to keep moving.
As Dengler takes off, he realizes that he's leaving tracks. So he backs up, placing his feet in the tracks he's already created, and then he jumps up on a big boulder. He jumps from rock to rock, knowing that they won't be able to track him over the rocks.
As Dengler continues to bash his way through the jungle, he becomes more and more delirious. He's had no food or water for days, and he's starting to hallucinate. At one point, he has a vision of his father standing at a fork in the road. The man points to the left, and Dengler follows. That day, pilot Eugene Dietrich is on a routine scouting mission up the river when he sees a strange man below him.
And he recognized that someone was signaling for help. They really didn't know who he was. They had been looking for Dengler 6 months earlier and really thought that he was lost.
The rescue helicopter arrives and brings Dengler on board. But Dengler's condition is so bad, he's unrecognizable.
He's in awful condition. He's got malaria and intestinal worms and fungus and jaundice and infection throughout his body. He's somewhere between 85 and 95 pounds. His body quite literally has been just eaten away by the captivity and living in the jungle for so long.
A doctor would later say that had Dengler not been rescued, he would have died within 24 hours. The helicopter is immediately cleared through to Da Nang. Once he's more stable, Dengler is sent out of Vietnam and reunited with his friends on the Ranger with a hero's welcome.
When he came back to the aircraft carrier, it was a good morale for the ship. He was excited about that. Well, everybody thought that if anybody's going to get out of there and be alive, it's going to be Dieter. That's the kind of guy he was. He had survived all his life.
The first thing Dengler does when he lands is send a message to his fiancée saying, "I escaped from prison, alive in hospital, will be home soon, love, Dieter." He recovers and works as a pilot for many years, and even survives 4 more crashes. In 2001, Dieter Dengler passes away and is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. His legacy of courage will not soon be forgotten.